So we're going to live shots now for the Prince Albert Challenge Cup. We say thank you to Adrian Cassidy and hello to Mark Hunter, Olympic gold and silver medalist in the lightweight men's double sculls. Hi Mark.
Good morning, Martin.
Great to have you with us as Edinburgh University's top boat on the Berkshire Station. The left-hand side of your picture blast off in the Prince Albert Challenge Cup for University men's fours. They are racing the crew from Newcastle University, and there is Edinburgh, and I would think Edinburgh might just be favourites for this race, but it's going to be a good contest down the course, Mark. Yeah,
it's going to be really interesting how the race ahead yesterday, because they had a really gut-buster yesterday where they were losing at each marker, then came through to overhaul Sydney, so it's going to be really good to see how they recover their bounceability from that race yesterday, going up against Newcastle today.
Yeah, that's... what does it do, you know, because you've had tight races and then you've had to race again another day. What does that do for you? I mean, is the recovery time enough? Do they have to get special massage and physio to recover?
It's that you've kind of gone through a process of trying different things to work out how you can bounce back as quickly as possible. So is it kind of doing hot and cold shower? Is it getting a massage? Is it doing a wind down? Every athlete's different, but it's actually making it unique to the individual to get them back to the performance they need for the following day. And it'll vary depending on what the crew did when they raced yesterday. Did they race in the morning? Did they race in the evening? But it's that deadness in your legs that you try and get out as quickly as possible.
Newcastle University there, we're looking at the Cox, Bruce Turnell, sorry, the stroke Bruce Turnell. The Cox is Sam Schicker up there in the bows. Newcastle University, of course, that programme which has really been dominated by the coaching of Angelo Savarino since he joined Newcastle University Boat Club. They've won at Henley 3 times. Most recently, they won this event back in 2017. And also, Mark, they've got some very famous alumni. James Rudkin, of course, probably the most current, rowing at 7 in the British 8.
Yeah, and that kind of feeds back, and I'm sure that he would have spoken to some of these guys before the regatta, you know, talking about his experience to help them with racing this week. And just from those shots that we were seeing from what they just looked so relaxed, like it was a real good kind of rhythm they had there. But obviously with what happened yesterday with the Edinburgh crew, you'd think they'd try and put them under pressure to see that fatigue element. Is it still in the legs of the crew from Edinburgh?
You see the pain on the face of James Doran, the big 3-man, 2 meters tall, 22 years of age. Looks like he's really anchoring that boat very well in the 3 seats. It's a tight contest. Newcastle have led from the outset. What are the chances this race could turn around, Mark?
Yeah, well, I suppose once Edinburgh get into their groove, if you want to call it that, you know, they're in their kind of base pace now, they're kind of in their comfort zone, if you want to call it that, and they've weathered the storm early on, and Newcastle try to put them under pressure. And I gather they'll start to grow in confidence, but with this particular match, you know what Cox fours, they don't change speed drastically quick, so it's that kind of just trying to inch out every stroke, just trying to move in front, but it still looks very close at the moment.
Does it make any difference that the Edinburgh crew rode through Sydney yesterday, so they've had experience of rowing through, so the Cox, Lizzie Dickinson might be calling the similar calls for the boys today?
That's the thing, I think they're growing from confidence from doing that. They know that it works, but how much did that take out yesterday to do that performance? Because you don't want to kind of, you know, press a NOS button, if you want to call it that, too many times early on in the regatta.
So the coaching team at Edinburgh University, the crew on the right of your picture in the light blue, Colin Williamson, the head of rowing, Lewis McHugh, senior men's coach, put this crew together. The umpire is shouting to a cruiser who's blasting down the regatta course, washing down the cruise. And Edinburgh University have just stuck, and Newcastle University have just maintained that lead, but it is a fragile lead.
And this is when Newcastle now should really put the hammer down, because that's when you've gone just past that midway point. You know, this is when you start asking yourself questions, that little voice in your head, and this is when you want to capitalise, you know, on the fatigue element. We're going to keep talking about that because it's so important with this back-to-back racing every day at the regatta.
I think there was an important spurt there from the Newcastle University, rating 36 strokes a minute. Is that about what you'd expect to see these Cox 4s race at?
Yes, especially in conditions like today. The wind has died down from yesterday. It's much calmer. We've had a bit of rain. So, you know, crews will feel they've got, you know, a bit more bounce in their kind of stroke rate, being able to go over slightly higher stroke rate than they have the previous day.
So Bruce Turnell in the stroke of Newcastle University, kept his crew in front, Kevin Hinkle behind him, big tall man, 2 metres and 3 centimetres, Joe Adamson, and then up in the bows, Ollie McChesney. He's seen a bit of rowing on the Henley course. On the Henley course, not the Henry course.
Just a bit of rocking and rolling there. They need to
hit the water. That's the blade of the 3-man, Kevin Hinkle.
And that is a really tough thing to do, especially in any boat, but especially on a Cox 4. The speed would have dropped. And now they've given Edinburgh a sniff, so they've got an opportunity now to pounce.
So could it be deja vu for Edinburgh University? Could they come through? Another crew in the closing stages of this regatta. It's only half a length, isn't it? But those are tired legs from Edinburgh University, very tired legs from the race that they had yesterday. They had to row through. Look at the grit on the faces. They look in pain, don't they?
But it's that belief they may have now. It may go in their favour because they've been in this kind of fist fight yesterday. They know they can trust each other in this particular moment, so it's going to be really interesting how they capitalise on that little error that came from the Newcastle boat. 2
big 3-men, Newcastle there, urged on by their Cox, Lizzie Dickinson. Sorry, that's Edinburgh University. The Cox, Sam Shuka from Newcastle University, urging his crew on as they come towards the finish line. Lizzie Dickinson doing the same for Edinburgh University.
And especially with the Cox now, those calls are so important because you don't want that kind of panic call. You want that really strong narrative call that's going to really kind of move the crew on rather than them starting to panic about what's going on beside them.
There is about 20 strokes left to go in this. Newcastle University haven't let up. They've held that lead the whole way down from Edinburgh University, are fighting with the lactate in their legs. And the 8 that they must be feeling the pain at this stage of the race. They're throwing everything in to get back at Newcastle University. But the men from the northeast are holding them off as they come through to the finish. It is Newcastle University on the left of your picture after an epic race against the men from Edinburgh University A crew. And Newcastle University, that will be a sweet win for them, won't it, Mark?
Yeah, that was, you know, what we expected. Newcastle put Edinburgh under pressure to see what yesterday had taken out of them. Really good race plan there by Newcastle. Just shame that Edinburgh didn't have anything left in that last couple hundred metres.
Confirmation of that result, Newcastle beat Edinburgh.